Hello, hello. Today is September the 15th, 2022. Trading and investing of any kind carries risk. Everything discussed here is for entertainment purposes only and not to be taken as financial advice. So, let's talk about how we might trade a stock market day like today. So, looking at this, we're just going to look intraday because, really, if you really pay attention to it, there was a slight downward trend most of the day, but it was pretty much a sideways day. So, how would we do this? So let's pull this over here and just pretend like it doesn't really exist. And if you, we could get overly technical and we could talk about the two patterns that actually played out today. Possibly another pattern setting up now, but really there were a couple of solid trades today. So if you don't understand these patterns, how harmonic patterns work, that's okay. And if you do, then you probably don't necessarily have to watch this. So let's look at how they might, if they wouldn't have existed, how we might have done this. So the first trade I would have taken if I didn't understand the harmonic patterns of everything would probably have been somewhere along the lines of there. Then, so what you really wanted to figure out is where the reversal zones were, right? So the reversal zone, the first one was right here. Second one was right here. So once you figure out there's a reversal zone, you want to start looking for, getting rid of any lower lows, right? So you want to start getting higher lows. And then kind of look at how this trend line makes its way across. So for me, seeing this W set up, I probably would have at this point zoomed in, when I started to see this W formation here, because I would be anticipating that, right? And you can't predict anything. You just kind of have to go with it, right? And then look for a good spot. Zoomed in, started looking for a really solid entry down here. Look for a solid entry. So this is where we would have started looking, and right after this, pull back down, get this pop back up, which kind of creates this reverse head and shoulders. And this area right in here is where I would have entered, probably somewhere along the lines of like right here. That's the first place I would have entered. Now there's a chance that I possibly would have entered down here at this reversal zone, but it wouldn't have been much and I would have added to it here. Just a chance. So then if we start looking at fibs here, I would have also started paying attention this is a couple of things that I would have paid attention to. When we got to, so we've entered, let's just say we've entered here, we push, we're not coming down at all. And, we're not coming down. We're actually keeping this trend. We're not seeing any lower lows, right? So these pullbacks, they're not coming below. There's not a lower low here. So what we would want to see, we get up to this 61.8% retrace of, this midpoint here. We play games around it, which is to be expected. 38.2 is another one. If you look right here, it kind of bounced around. So, and then when it gets through 38.2, it popped, it moved, and then we're playing games around 61.8. So right here, I would have definitely taken notice and paid attention, because the next thing we would want to see is the retrace of this whole W, right? So we'd want to see it push up to 38.2. At 38.2, we just blew right through it. So why would I be worried or concerned at all? I wouldn't be. So then we pushed up to 61.8. And at 61.8, that's where you really want to start looking for reversals, right? And then we pushed up to 78.6. There's a reason for that. But this is where you would start to kind of clear out most of your trade. Now, you might want to leave some in there just in case it runs, or you could clear it all the way out depending on the type of trader that you are. Then the next move from there, when you get this completion, you want to start looking for another reversal, because after this thing is drawn, what do we get? Reversal. So on our reversal, get our reversal zone here, start to pull back. Well, now we can start looking where we're going to enter next. So my entry on this would have probably been somewhere along the line. So now I would remove these retracements. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing a retracement from down here for this leg. I'm going to start drawing it back. So we get this reversal zone. We're getting lower. We're not getting any higher highs, right? Everything's going down. And we're starting to get lower lows on these peaks, right? So you would want to enter. I mean, I probably would have entered pretty far up here. As soon as we started breaking these Ichimoku clouds, I probably would have gotten in and just managed the trade and put my stop somewhere up here. But then same thing on the way down, stopped at 38.2, stopped at 61.8. We continued down because there was another pattern playing out. So what I was really hoping was going to happen was this was going to turn into a W hit VWAP and actually get rejected and pull back down. Didn't quite make it there, but I never exited the trade. And then once we actually got a bit of this rejection and started moving back down, I actually entered heavier back into the trade, and I started taking more profit. So, on the rest of this trade, you'd want to manage it a bit more carefully. I don't necessarily recommend, unless you actually know exactly what was going on. I don't know if I would recommended re-entering, but you could have absolutely taken this trade here. And then you could have, finished covering it at 61.8, or you could have just, taken profits at 38.2, taken profits at 61.8, and then, see if we push back through 38.2 and, kind of manage it from there. Let's just say you traded 500 shares, these 500 shares pulled back, take a couple hundred or maybe 300, or just half, take 250, pulls back down, take another 100 or 150, and then just kind of see what happens, right? And if it pops back to a place you're uncomfortable, well, you've already made a lot of profit. So either cut it, take it all here, or just, let it ride out and, kind of see what happens. So that's how I would typically have traded, if I didn't understand. I would say before I understood harmonics and how harmonic patterns work, and how fib numbers actually work with each other in harmony. So I don't know if that's helpful. I hope that it's helpful. And if it is, fantastic. Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, kind of tell me what you think. And if not, tell me why it's not. I'm very curious. I typically day trade, and I will day trade on what I see on patterns, because patterns typically line up with news, right? They usually line up with some catalyst. And so you just manage your trades from there. Now, it's not that I don't listen to news. I listen to news squawks. I listen to all those things, but I only listen to them just to kind of see, if there is a catalyst, right? For a particular move. When I get to the end of a move, is there a catalyst that's actually going to help that move pull harder? Or is it just going to be a typical, retracement? So anyway, hope it's helpful. If it is, like I said, like, subscribe. Give me comments, tell me what's going on, and until then, I will see you next time.